Ladies and gentlemen, this is internet personality Vangelus here with a review of Transformers Reveal the Shield Trax, or as he was called in the auction I got him from, Trax. His car mode is highly evocative of his G1 self, which is kind of expected nowadays, I suppose. Painted hubcaps and clear windshields make me a very happy camper. Many have complained about the lack of the 80s-ness of the flame pattern on his hood and how it's too tribal, but I really honestly don't mind. I think it looks fine. And if you want the original pattern, I suppose you could look at the United version. Aside from rolling like a car, he's also got a throwback to his classic flight mode. Now, one really cool thing about this toy is that it uses the 3mm clip system in place of simple parts leprosy, so even though it is parts leprosy, it's a little bit more impressive than if it was just stuff falling off that wouldn't have any kind of practical use elsewhere. This flight mode, basically you unfold the doors like wings, and it looks horrible. However, thanks to Drewsifer of YouTube, with or without several X's, we've got a far superior flight mode that looks a lot more like the G1 flight mode. After that, you more or less just start transforming it into robot mode and then sort of stop. It's a little bit suspicious how, if you turn the hands correctly, you can basically get the arms to cover the gaps under the door's windows. And it leads some, such as TFW's own Foster Logger, to wonder if this maybe was the intended flying car mode. The white missiles, by the way, are a terrifying hassle to get onto those tabs, at least on my version of the toy. And you know what? It's a flying car! It looks a lot like the original Trax flying car, but at the same time it looks kinda like a car that's trying to fly. And probably not succeeding. However, there's a doofy charm to it. I mean, the thing kinda looks about as 80s as you can get. I mean, this is more or less what the 80s thought flying cars might be like if you reference Trax or Mask or stuff like that. And what's kind of cool is that because these wheels are on joints, you can actually position these however you want. So if you want them up more for a bit more of like a hover turbine look, then that works as well. The wings can move up and down here. Overall, you know, for a flying car mode, aside from the complete cornball silliness of it, it's functional. You can't deny it that. I suppose the only real problem, objectively, is that these missiles aren't really doing anything back here, except kind of chilling out and going like, by the way, we're still on the car. So let's return to the full-on car mode and transform us some robot! Oh, by the way, I've seen some people having trouble keeping this part down, like it just tends to pop up like this, and I had that problem too every now and then, and basically, this little gun has to be in like this, otherwise it seems to cause issues. Transforming time! This new version of Trax follows the motions of his original toys surprisingly closely. His legs transform nearly identically, with the boon of bumper-sized heel spurs. His arms occupy a different part of the car, and his backpack has several more layers within, but those modern engineering additions only enhance the feeling of an older toy evolving into the aesthetic of our modern era. Even the parts leprosy of G1 is upgraded via the 3mm clip system. Take care when you're jamming the backpack's gray tabs into the blue slots, though. A final dynamic automorph caps off a very satisfying conversion. Who's blue with a bright red face? A frozen man holding his breath! Well, so is Trax, and he really looks Trax-ish. Even though he's part of Reveal the Shield, this dude was totally a Generations toy, and will fit in extremely well with all of your other Classics in Universe 2 figures. The body's got a hardcore G1 throwback going on, and I suppose if I was going to pick on any part of it, it would be that his shoulders are kind of really wide when you stare at them for too long. Thing is, it kind of works because they help cover up how the wings back here are not totally all back there, and when you look at them from the right angles, you see everything you're supposed to see, and things like the wheels here fill in those gaps. It's kind of cleverly done, and the wide shoulders are not that big a deal once you have them in hand. Neither is the somewhat puffy belly, which is a bit of an optical illusion. It's mostly just the windshield doing it. And really, his skeleton, when you stare at him long enough, is just well built and kinda handsome. He's also got possibly the most Trax-ish head sculpt you could ever want on a toy this big. The white washes out lots of detail, but if we change the lighting a little bit, you can see they gave him his kind of knight-like forehead thing, and a somewhat unfortunate attempt at light piping that doesn't totally work, even when I have the lamp right behind his head. Oh well. As part of Reveal the Shield, he's also got a rub sign on his chest. I demonstrated to you, but my lights are so hot that it's kind of permanently on while we're filming. So, hey look, it works. This handsome devil really will fit in well if you have a Trax shelf. Though if you have a Trax shelf, it's probably pretty small.
Oh god, Raoul dropped his pants. Oh no, stop you, of course. Greetings, chaps. Finally, our Trax trifecta is complete. Right you are, Trax. Now we can finally do what we've always dreamed of doing. Why, I'm practically steaming with excitement. Well, gentlemen, let's not waste any more time. Let the three-way waxing begin! So we can hit the town and pick up a veritable cornucopia of fresh, young, common women. To wash us in bikinis even! Oh. I'll never get enough of you, Tiger.
Trax's ball-jointed head is a little bit limited, but I'm glad that there's some tilt to it. Oh, I'm Trax. His arms are more or less perfect, with a full-ranged ball joint on the shoulder, a bicep swivel, a double-jointed elbow, and a wrist swivel. That's everything I want. And thank heavens there is a waist joint. This is something that I think tends to get cut out first in articulation, and I'm always much happier to see it there. You can even lift up his windshield to get a better look at how it works. A little bit revealing. With the windshield up, I can also show you the very free-ranged, ball-jointed hip joint, and he's got a swivel above the knee joint, thankfully, and the knee joint kind of works. All things considered, it's attached to a sliding mechanism, which can kind of be rickety here and there. It might just be on my copy of the toy, though. And the knee works fine, it's just that it only goes that far. And, you know, Trax doesn't really need a double-jointed knee, but I'm always a little bit sad to not see one. So it's okay. It took me a little bit to realize it could even bend that far, and that's good. That's great. It's like 45 degrees, but I wish there was more. And he's kind of got an ankle joint here. The thing is that his feet have this giant bumper-sized heel spur that can also move on its own, which means that the foot posability isn't really all that important. I mean, everything in here moves a little bit, but because he has such a solid stance with these bumpers, it doesn't really matter if the feet aren't totally flat, because these things probably will be. Oh, hey, look, it's Wheeljack! It's a... oh... Trax's shoulder missiles use the much-vaunted 3mm clip system. Thank goodness. It takes parts leprosy and turns it into an action feature. Aside from these things, you can plug on really any 3mm clip system accessory that you want from any 3mm clip system figure. And likewise, you can stick Trax's white missiles on someone else, too. But what's really cool, and also something that's going to be a feature for the upcoming Wheeljack remold of this figure, is that his handheld gun has another clip on the back, a posable hinged one. What this means is that if you take the clip system clips that are kind of buried inside his shoulders here from the vehicle mode, and you clip this thing on, then you fold this down, you've got Trax with 3 missiles on his shoulders. And, you know, you can never have enough missiles on your Trax, or on your shoulders. So that's kind of cool. It's neat, and it means that he's got lots of options for additional 3mm clip system playability, without removing his iconic white missiles. Trax is an excellent deluxe. You get a great alt mode, a great robot mode, a nice transformation, and very few weaknesses at all. The only things to really watch out for are whether or not the sliding mechanism in the legs is rickety, and to be very careful when tabbing in the gray flap on his backpack. On mine it was so tight that it immediately put stress marks into the blue framing that receives the tabs, so I shaved the tabs down a little bit right afterwards. If you like Trax, buy this toy, just trust me. If you like the Classics Universe Henkei Generations Reveal the Shield United aesthetic, then you may as well buy this guy. He fits in with them just fine. If you're not much of a retro dude, though, or you never found Trax all that interesting, then maybe this one won't work for you. It does have wide shoulders, and the illusion of a big stomach. Otherwise, it's highly recommended. This has been Internet Personality Vangelus, And I feel pretty damn handsome. Thanks for watching. No, really, thanks for watching. And I just want to point out that for the duration of filming, I have been wearing sleeves.